Good evening and welcome to the Monday, July 13th, 2020 Litchfield Board of Selectmen meeting. The board has just come out of a paperwork review. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:35 and ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First items are the review and approval of consent items. We have the June 22nd, 2020 meeting minutes. We have an account payroll manifest of June 30th, 2020 in the sum of $116,121.76. July 7th, 2020 in the sum of $113,569.56. And July 14th, 2020 in the sum of $424,116.17. We have a payroll manifest of July 2nd, 2020 in the sum of $64,553.99. January 9th, 2020 in the sum of $61,214.15. And July 16th, 2020 in the sum of $61,168.19. And we have one elderly exemption. Are there any items members would like to remove from consent? Hearing none, we'll take a motion for consent.
So move.
Motion by Mr. LaSalle,
I'll second it.
Second.
second by Mr. Lynch. Any discussion? All those in favor, roll call. Mr. Larry?
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle?
Aye.
Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Mr. Pinciero?
Aye.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 5-0-0. Is there any other business members would like to add this evening?
I had mentioned a couple of things.
Yes, and Troy added those today, so we should be
Okay,
good. I think
okay.
they're on here as we scroll down.
Yeah, we've added the Pennachuck meeting report, the human resource policies and procedure review,
Yeah,
and there is a non-public for reputation.
yeah,
I put it as reputation.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Public input will occur no earlier than 6:45 p.m. The first item of business this evening is Avatar, Chad Roberge.
Mhm.
Mr. Brown.
Yep, that's correct.
All right, I'll just quickly, as we're all very much aware, we've just gone through an update. Chad Roberge works for Avatar, and he was the project manager for the town of Litchfield. So he was the one out there in the field along with his other staff, but he was responsible for the oversight of the entire update. So I've not had a chance to talk to Mr. Roberge since I was, just got back today. But the way the last time Chad and I spoke, I asked him if he would at least give the board an update on, what the outcome was and some of the trends that he saw, what kind of input he's getting from citizens, because they are scheduling meetings to discuss the values that they were at this time right now, we refer to them as preliminary values, because we're trying to make sure that if there's something that stands out, we didn't make some kind of error in data collection or something like that. So, and then I think we're all aware that this year we picked up all the solar panels, and there's been a lot of input from citizens about that and looking for an ability to get an exemption on those panels. So with that, Chad, I'll let you take over and start off with just giving a general update on where we're at with the valuation update.
Yeah, thanks, Troy. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So we started the hearings today, and for the first day, they went really well. Most of everyone's concern was the amount of change over 1 year. So it's a lot of explaining that it's over a 5-year period that we're actually making the adjustment for. We did have some concerns regarding some homes that they don't have a garage at all, which is rare for Litchfield. whether it was detached or attached. So that's something we're going to review, because I can almost guarantee that 99% of the sales that we had were homes that had a garage either detached or attached. So that's something that we're going to review for the taxpayers and make sure that we're addressing that value accurately. The only other concern that we had that I think the board is, I'm sure, is aware of, is the solar panels. We had quite a few callers have questions as to, do they add value? Why do they add value? And for the most part, we're able to explain to them, we do have the information on sales that solar does add value, whether it's a leased system or not. And that's pretty much what we've had for the first day of hearings. No one was out of line or anything. Everyone's been doing great. I didn't know if Troy, did I need to go into overall change in value of have you addressed that with the board already?
No, we have not discussed that. If you can
Okay.
do that,
Yep.
that'd be great.
So sorry, I kind of put the cart before the horse. So the overall change in value we saw between 2015 and now is about 27% on average. So the town as a whole came up that percentage. Most of the callers we've been getting are right around that. We haven't had any from, obviously there's some people in town that went up more than that and some that went up less. We haven't really had too many phone calls from them, which is surprising, but we'll see what happens for the rest of the week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
I know. How many appointments do you have scheduled so far? So do you know exactly how many people have reached out to you and you scheduled appointments with?
Yep. So we had 22 today. We've got 16 so far tomorrow, 14 on Wednesday. Hold on, 11 on Thursday. And then, so that's what we've got so far.
Oh, okay.
There are, I believe I had 28 off the check, because I don't have that number offhand, but I was emailing people that made appointments early, because they've been, I think there's 2 weeks before today that they were allowed to actually schedule themselves. So the ones that scheduled and wrote down what their concerns were, I emailed them directly and just addressed their concern, whether it was, my above ground pool was removed 2 years ago. It's no longer there. I just simply told them I removed it and we'll review it next year to make sure it's gone. And, if they still wanted to keep the phone call, they could. And then they'd usually email back, nope, all set. So I'd cancel that appointment. What I found was as people canceled the appointment, someone else would fill that spot. So there's about 28 other appointments that I've already taken just through emails.
Business is good.
But overall, not as many as I thought we would get. I think because a large majority of taxpayers in Litchfield have gone through the process with us at least 2 times. I think most of them are aware of, values go up, tax rate comes down, not too much of a change.
Question. This is Selectman Rich Lascelles. Do you have a preliminary number as to the overall valuation of the town and how much it went up?
I do not have that offhand. I can probably get it for you before the end of the meeting, though.
Okay, that would be helpful.
Hold on, let me check my email.
Chad, when you and I talked, you were going to check in on the utilities values.
Yes, we have
before
not
you
got
gave that
utilities
number
yet.
out.
I do have, the number that I emailed you in that parcel count, that is still accurate. Nothing's changed from that. But we have not received utility value changes yet from Gary Roberts.
Okay. Do you know how long it'll take to get the utility values? Because that's one way of we could do some quick calculation just to see what we think the tax rate might be. And then they, homeowners could apply that tax rate, our estimated tax rate, to the new assessed value of their home. I know it's dangerous to do that.
Yes, I don't. It is, but because of HB 700 and whatnot, we have a good idea of what 80% of the utility values are going to be. It's the transmission and other conduit and stuff that we have to figure out. So I believe I can get that for you at least before the end of the week. I don't see why we couldn't.
If you discount the utility number, the other number as far as the overall valuation of the town, do you have that number?
I don't offhand. I'm not in my office or at home right now.
Okay.
I can email that to the board. I believe.
Please do.
That's fine.
It should be on hand somewhere. I could forward it because I believe I have it in email somewhere.
Okay, that'd be great, Chad. If you could forward that, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
So how much longer do residents have was it just this week that was dedicated to scheduling meetings to discuss their preliminary values?
Just 1 week?
Yeah, we're opening up. First, it started with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then as more people filled in, we opened it up further. I believe we opened up Friday. So Friday, I think, has maybe one guy sitting in it right now. So there's still, and they can still make appointments for tomorrow. So the scheduler allows them to continue to make appointments while I'm taking appointments.
Is there a deadline? Do you have to have all these
So they
appointments
have
done
until-
by?
Nope. And a lot of the people that have been emailing, I've been letting them know that if they have further concerns, they can continue to use that email stream, and I'll address them. So as long as people sign up on that scheduler online, I will continue to, talk with them and try to address any concerns they have.
And that's the email address, the web address that was sent out with the preliminary assessment, correct?
Correct. A true drop dead date would be October 1st when we have to have this completed by. That's once we head it over to the town. It'd be hard to kind of make any sort of changes before December bills go out.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
At that point, a taxpayer would have to go through the abatement process.
Okay, good. It's just good to know when they have until to
Can
discuss
that
it
be
with you.
shared on a website? The time regarding all
Sure.
this?
I'm sure we can come up with a slide.
Yep. Because we could sit here all day and say it, but we want to be able to
Yes.
show them where it could be said. Chad, another question that I have, Kevin Lynch. On these solar exemptions, could you send us some information on how that works? Or other towns that you may be familiar with? And also, I know people like to get some kickback, or I'm going to say, I shouldn't say word kickback, but, just they spend money to save money and it's costing them more on the property.
How about
tax
some
rate.
relief?
How much is the relief? Comparison. If you can find that information in your system.
So under that RSA, do you know more about it when it comes to the solar exemption?
Yes. So the towns have, you can really make it whatever you want in terms of how much an exemption is. I think
Correct.
a lot of towns that adopted it early, they did it, up to a certain amount. We'll exempt solar value up to $5,000. But it's, that's kind of gone away. And I would say 90% of the towns that we do, it's off assessed value. So regardless of how much money you spend on a solar, if we assess it, so it's really only market value. So if you spend 150 grand on your solar, but based on our market data, it would only get you maybe $30,000 in assessed value. It's only that 30,000 that's exempted.
Okay.
So that's how most of our towns do it. So it's the taxpayers still get a break because technically they would be paying taxes on that 30 grand, but they just added in solar. But the exemption just makes it a wash.
Okay. You have other examples, or can you forward what other towns have done in your history with it, Chad?
Oh yeah,
Thank you. That would
yeah,
be.
of course. Yeah,
that
I
would be
wrote it down,
nice.
so I'll send that in the email with the town valuation and hopefully utility update.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chad.
Yep.
So if we could repeat again for the benefit of the public, if they are concerned about their assessment and need to talk to you to set up an appointment, how do they get a hold of you?
So I'd go through that. You're saying after this Friday?
Sure.
Because up until this Friday, they can go online and make the appointment right through the website, and I will receive an email, and then I can correspond with them that way. If after this Friday, they can still use that email in the letter that we sent out with the preliminary assessment.
So on the preliminary assessment, there's a web address for scheduler, and then after this Friday, use the email address that's there.
Correct.
Okay.
That's
All right, gentlemen, we have any other questions?
I don't have any, Mr. Chair.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
I put that out for you, Bob, to work on.
Yeah.
Robert, we all know you're not going to sell your house, so
Yeah.
I'm
Mr.
not.
Question would be upset if you did.
It was my aunt's house before hers.
Okay.
those grandkids are not leaving, so you're not leaving, period.
There's room for them out back.
All right, everyone, if we don't have any more questions for Chad, we'll let him get on with his evening. Anything else?
Chad, just do me one thing. Say hi to your father for me, please.
I'm sorry, say again?
Say hi to your dad. We were college
I will.
roommates. Back in
Oh,
the
that's right.
day.
Yes, I will. I'll let him know.
Yeah.
I'll let him know. You gentlemen have a good night.
Thanks, Chad. We appreciate you joining us this evening.
Not a problem. Always welcome.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye. All right. Next item is the Penachuk meeting report. I believe this would be Mr. LaSalle's.
Okay, I guess it was a couple of weeks ago, Kevin and I met with a representative from Penachuk, actually three representatives from Penachuk, and as well as
Yeah.
Doug Nickel.
Don Ware and
Yeah.
Doug Nichols was it. Yeah.
Yeah, the health officer. And the gist of the meeting was we're trying to figure out why people are having discolored water. And of course, people have been having discolored water for ages. And so we went through some of the history. It seems as though people have been having more discolored water this spring than in previous times. So we talked about what's happening with respect to Penachuk water. They said that the source of the contamination is most likely manganese in almost all cases. There's some iron in it, but for the most part, it is manganese. there is a letter that's coming out to customers. I think it's being mailed either today or tomorrow. A letter about what Pennachuck is planning. They're apparently the usage this year, because of two things, because of the people are staying home with COVID. And the second thing is it's been so dry. So the usage has been abnormally high, which, whether that's causing additional coloration or not, we don't know. Generally speaking, a discoloration that people might see on their street or whatever is caused by an event. When I say an event, it's like somebody turning on a fire hydrant, or there's been a huge influx of water into the line, which causes a big slug of water, and they call that a water hammer. And when that water hammer, whenever that hydrant is shut off for whatever reason, that water hammer goes down the line and vibrates the pipe and causes any sort of collection on the inside of the pipes to be released. And that's what's causing people to have discolored water. The plan is for us to study the situation over the summer. Nothing's going to really happen this summer, but based upon what we figure out over the summer, then Pennachuck is going to take action this fall to flush out where they feel is where it's necessary. One thing we would like for the public who are listening, Pennachuck has delivered some sample bottles. People are very concerned, and rightfully so, when the water comes out discolored and everything. They're concerned about the health, cooking with it and bathing in it and so forth. They're concerned about it. Pennachuck wants you to report that as soon as possible, that you're having that discoloration. The problem is that discoloration probably is going to last just for a short period of time. So it's important that you folks, if you see a discoloration, to save a sample of that water, put it in a Tupperware container or a glass jar, baby food container, whatever. We have sample bottles here at the town hall, but that's not going to do you any good. So take a sample of that water while it's discolored and mark on it the time that you take it, your address and so forth, as a part of the selectmen's meeting at the end of July, hopefully. So if you can take that sample, then we can have that analyzed between now and if we get a number of samples, we'll try to figure out through the fire department or through Pennachuck what's causing this discolored water. Now, there is good news in that a lot of the water that we're using now is not coming from the wells. There are wells here in Litchfield that have a lot of manganese in them. A lot of the water now is coming from a new line that's been put across the river by Pennachuck. So that's coming from the Nashua water system. And that water is filtered, and there should not be any sort of contamination at all in it. So that's good news. But if you see discolored water, please take a sample of it, mark the time, your address, and so forth. We're going to be in touch with Pennachuck. We expect you to be in touch with Pennachuck, and hopefully we'll come up with a plan to figure out what's causing it, and hopefully in the fall we'll be able to take some action. Kevin, you got anything else?
I'd like to add to that a little bit, Rich. One of the key things that we've noted is that whenever there's a disturbance on the line, a large volume being discharged, whether it's the fire department learning how to use a hydrant or anything like that, how they shut down certain things causes that hammer effect, which some of the older lines will have the manganese or that crustacean is on it and it shakes a little bit. So we found this out just recently when they were up on one New Street, which is the new run. But the pipe that feeds that is a very old pipe. It's one of the older ones in town. So that's how that stuff got into that new pipe. And it got to the end of it where they were working. That's the end of the line type thing in the loop. The other time they changed locations and went down to the old firehouse and worked there. The following day, we got calls on water on Nessencake and up on Nokomo.
Nokomo, yeah.
Okay, which is part of that feeder that comes down through there. Now, the line from the firehouse going down to let's say the school, a little bit beyond, is not that old comparison. But when you get up on the line that's up on the top of the hill, up on Pinecrest, that's the older part of town that the first water was brought in. So those are expected to be what they are because they were fed for many years with manganese, from the old well. And
It's interesting though, this has been going on for a couple of years. So I'm wondering if every case is isolated to some type of event. Or were we pulling from the wells before and now they've changed the delivery system? I mean, is there still
The delivery system is different a little bit now because like Rich has said, we're pumping from Pennachuck across the river up to feed the line that feeds the tower up here in Rocky Hill at night. But it's something that's going on this year, and it's not this year. I talked to other towns. Because of the heavy usage, because everyone's home, there's more usage. Look at the volume. Even Pennachuck,
It's almost triple
the volume of what people normally would use. So that alone is shaking the lines, no matter what. Plus, we just tied into that one last year across the river. And that's got an intake down there that we're going to work on and stuff like that. But at least it's chlorinated this time, or it's filtered better.
Is it still our intent to go out and try to map the addresses that are having problems? Because
Yes, it is.
We did have a resident that was willing to help us.
Absolutely.
Map it.
Any information we can get is going to be helpful. You know, we suppose that if somebody on a street is having discolored water, that we can trace it back to some event.
Yeah.
Okay. But we don't know for sure.
Which
you know.
one it is what?
But,
Especially if we go historical, if people just put in that, hey, in the past we have had it.
One of the
We
key
don't have the time date stamp of it, just so that was impacted at some time within the system.
and the problem is they see it, but that might be 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And then, you know, they can report it to Pennachuck, but there's only one guy over at Pennachuck and he's running the plant. So, you know,
next
by the
day,
next
I mean,
morning.
sample
it's-
is the best thing to get.
Yes, yes.
The key thing is that we're trying to do now, as part of the discussion we had, Rich and I, with Don Ware from Pennachuck, the gentleman in charge. He's been around a long time. He knows the system by heart. But we're trying to get time and date. Okay, if a guy has some water, at least the memo that's going out or the handout that's going out to all the water users is going to have a call number on it, and it's going to be after hours too. You can call it and say, I got this, this, and this. The other thing too, we have sample bottles here, and we know there's certain parts of town that get it more than others. So maybe these sample bottles, they can come down and get them from the town clerk or whoever, okay? At least have one in their hands because they've had it before. They can take the sample and call up and bring it in the next day, or maybe they'll come back, they'll come over and get it. We're still working on that. Okay?
Okay, perfect.
I think the key though is
It's the time of day.
the time and take that sample. You know,
got it.
We all see on Facebook, you know, on the WhatsApp page, you see these soupy stuff.
Beautiful bathtub exposures.
Yes. Okay, that's fine, but by the time Pennachuck wants to take a sample, it's all gone, So it's important that people get that sample right away,
And something may have happened on the line that we don't know about.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And that would be particularly interesting.
Yep.
If something happens and it's causing it on a regular basis and we can't figure out what it's doing, then that's a problem.
And they need to have this information too, so they can figure it out what's going on.
Yep.
That's the key. We're trying to work together.
Is that water coming from the ponds at Pennachuck?
Being pumped from the river.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether it's coming from the river, the ponds, the
I
reservoir.
think it just crosses in the river. I don't think it's,
We don't take from the river yet. We're pumping across it.
right.
There is an intake.
But it's
proposed.
processed, it's filtered and everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be coming from the ponds or they're bringing it up to the ponds for storage and then running
Yeah.
it through the filter
Yeah.
system.
we need to find out on the intake. That proposal had an intake as also to do that, put an intake in the river to bring it to Pennachuck to get it treated too.
Yep.
There was a proposal for that. I'll call Dawn tomorrow. I got no problem calling on
That
that.
was put
Yep.
in.
Because that's a gravel bed. Underneath that area where they went, it's all ledge. And they put the intake on top of that rock. So you don't dealing with a lot of siltation or anything like that. I have nothing else.
Anybody have anything else?
No, I think it's important that we are staying on top of this, especially with the rates that the people in this town are paying for their water. I'm fortunate enough to be on a well, but I mean, their rate is really high for Litchfield, and we should be able to get some satisfaction out of it.
Trying to.
Fully agree. All right, Kevin, Rich, thank you for meeting with them and doing that undertaking
Good.
for us. Okay, being that it's 7:05, I'd like to open to public input. John, do we have any members of the public online that would like to speak?
I do not see any members of the public.
All right, thank you. So therefore, we will close public input. Next item on the agenda is human resources policies and procedures. Mr. Brown.
Well, Selectman Lascelles, he had asked that we put this on the agenda for a discussion. So I think, that Rich, you want to share what your thoughts were about
Well, I
how we
think,
handle this.
I think we're going into the budgeting season. And we've all talked about zero-based budgeting. So, I mean, I'm a new selectman, so there's a lot of policies and procedures that I'm not familiar with. And what I would like to do is to get for all the selectmen a hard copy of all policies and procedures, any contracts, employment contracts or contracts like that, so that we could sit down in a work session and go through those and figure out, I mean, to me, there's just a lot of things that are happening that I don't know if there is a policy or if there's a problem with the policy. Maybe we're not following the policy, but I just feel that there's an awful lot that is left up in the air, and I would hope that we're following policy that's a written policy and that we're doing it faithfully. But so I would like to go through that. So if we could all get a hard copy of policies and procedures and go through that as soon as possible, because we have budgeting coming up. Like, for instance, what's the overtime policy? You know, I was here signing manifests, and there's overtime on the manifest.
Yeah.
Some of it looked to be a management person. You know, who's who's entitled to overtime and who isn't entitled to overtime. I thought because of the COVID crisis that we were in kind of a, we don't want people spending money. So I would think that department heads should be minimizing overtime as much as possible. I know that town vehicles go out of town, and I know that that's been a source of discussion in the past. I'd like to know what the policy is, what the justification is for it, and for that to be discussed here. How is town property disposed of when we have something that is declared excess? How do we dispose of that? What's the bidding process? I'd also like to include in that conflict of interest. I've talked about conflict of interest for years. I think we need to really review what our policy is concerning conflict of interest and discuss that in a selectmen's meeting. But the gist is, what I'd like to do is get a hard copy of anything that we have, and then we could go through it in a working session for the selectmen or whatever. But that's my idea.
Okay, I mean, Troy, you'll have more background than I will, but I believe that all of the contracts are on the website, our town website.
But I'd like to have a hard copy.
Okay, I mean, we just print them out. That's easy enough.
I think what we're dealing with here, and Rich and I are from the same boat. I like to feel it instead of look at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they all are there. I think we have, when it comes to human resources, that would fall under the handbook, right? That's where all that is.
Personnel policy, we have the union contract, we have employment contracts, and then some of the stuff, you know, how we're starting to do some review of the policies, like the purchasing policy today that we'll introduce. That actually has a provision in there about the disposal of surplus property. But yeah.
Let's all get it together.
Yeah, we did this, the board did this last year. And
Last year, we went through every one of them.
It's a very healthy process to go through and it's like you say, it's perfect timing for it, because then you start to understand what some of the budget issues are. They're not issues, but why we're budgeting X and for this and for that. So.
I have a question. Now that we're plowing under a contract with individuals, have we gone to bid for the town hall and the fire station? Or have we just hired, from what I've been told?
We have not gone to bid, but we did that quickly last year. That is something that the interim road agent and I have actually talked about, because well, the question is, do we try to package more of it all together and get the sidewalk, the town office, the fire station, parking lot, the old fire station, see if we can put it in a package and see what the price comes in at.
Last winter, didn't we utilize the contract that the school had to do town hall and the fire? We took the same vendor.
Yeah, well,
That's what we ended up doing.
we didn't go out to bid, but we went to the vendor
Who did
that
the
already
schools.
went through a competitive process for the school.
School and just said, could you please add on?
We only
these
did a
two lots?
1-year contract. So
Right, that's only one.
we're
year.
not committed.
I'm only asking.
No, I know.
It's gonna go to bid.
And
That's all I'm asking. I don't
Yeah,
want to
and
know any of the particulars at this point.
yeah.
So Troy, you're going to work on getting hard copies for all those that want, for all the different
Yeah.
policies,
Give us a
procedures,
binder.
contracts. I appreciate that.
The old way.
That's what you're looking for, Rich?
Yeah, and to be frank, Troy, one of the things that I think we really need to think about as selectmen is that you and your assistant went on vacation at the same time. And to me, that's an issue,
That was meant.
I don't know what the approval process was, but I know the history of why we have a town administrator, and it's for coverage. People expect to be able to get a hold of somebody in an administrative capacity. And it's either between, in regular working hours, that there should be somebody to talk to. Either you or your assistant should be here. And for both of you to go on vacation, to me, I just can't fathom that at the same time.
This is the last time.
Yeah, I mean, it was brought up the last time, and
We brought it up the last time.
talked
Healthy
it.
discussion.
You know, I hope that's the policy that we have, you know, not just the town administrator, but throughout
Yeah,
the
look at that.
Oh,
organization.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not just here, it's everywhere.
No, I don't know how it happened, but it did. So there should be some sort of chain of approval or whatever to make sure that that doesn't happen, you know?
Who
I
does
mean,
approve
in prior
vacation?
years, what we do, you know, I've always been working with the chairman, and then there's usually when you're out, you let me know. If I'm out,
Yep.
you know, it's always been, the practice has always been between the town administrator and the chair. So,
As far as your vacation.
yeah,
what
vacation
would
and
that-
just time away from the office, you know, that's, yeah.
I'm just saying, we had this discussion at the last meeting. Okay? It wasn't good timing for you both of you to be out. That was it. Water with the dam, the future, let's go to the
We
next
talk
step.
in the future, we would schedule around it.
I do want to bring up one thing that each selectman at that night that we're supposed to be here, we should be here. I'm just kidding. No one can call in sick. You know, humor in the world. Gotta have some humor. Right, Bob?
All right, so you're going to get all the hard copies of everything and
Yeah.
disperse it?
Just let me, if you don't want a hard copy, let me know. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume that you want.
And then from a workshop planning, it's got to be a public meeting if we're all together doing a workshop.
Yeah, correct.
I think we just do it like we did last year.
Yeah.
We did the same.
We did them one by
process.
one.
Yeah.
We did 1 week, like we do it now. We did a review and then we came back the second week and we commented about it.
Yep.
Okay. That
As
good
long
for
as
you,
you
Rich?
have it to read about it before you go to the meeting. When you got nothing in your hand to come in and it's cold, that's what we're referring to. And no one goes online like a lot of people like us.
Well, I will say that all the links were provided on this, doing this way. I know we didn't have the right onboarding for Rich or for Jack because of the COVID hitting and so forth, but I will say that every meeting, we do have all the information there for us.
I'm not arguing that because my computer skills are limited.
Yeah, but we usually have all the background information on everything we're going to discuss already there. It's usually available. I'd say by noontime on Mondays. Is that accurate, Troy, would you say? So, I mean, the information is there. I think we just have to, you know, it was unfortunate we weren't able to onboard
Can I
Ms.
just,
LaSalle, Ms. Pinciero as good as we should have.
I think one of the things that I think about it is that we get our agenda on Friday afternoon.
Mhm.
The meeting is Monday night. It's the weekend. I know we're elected officials, but some of us go places with family. Okay, and we don't read up on it while we're with family, so we don't get enough time to read it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like we know we got fixed stuff, okay, that we know we have to stick to. Is there any way we can get this out a little quicker? You know, what's going to be on the agenda that regarding this policy stuff? Because that's the stuff we should read a little sooner. That's what I'm saying.
The policy stuff, yeah.
Okay, for that week, you know. That's all I'm saying.
But I will tell you that
It's good reading.
a lot of things come up, you know, just say if we publish the agenda on Wednesday, things come up Thursday, they come
Oh,
up
yeah.
Friday
Yeah.
afternoon. I have people coming into me and asking if they can get on.
Oh, that I expected.
But you mean the policy stuff?
Correct. That's all. I'm just referring to that.
All right, with that, we will move on to the purchasing policy, first review. Mr. Brown.
So again, we'll just do like what we did on some of the other policies. I'll just give you a quick highlight of the policy. And then you take time to read it between now and our next meeting.
Mhm.
The purchasing policy is a policy that the selectmen have adopted. It requires an annual review from the Board of Selectmen, so we review this every single year. The general purpose of it, obviously, is to set out procedures and guidelines for all departments, boards, and committees to make purchases. And there is a section in the policy that talks about encouraging fair and open competitive process. It does that in a way where it's kind of like laid out in 3 different tiers. So department heads have authority to make purchasing decisions for anything under $5,000.
Right.
Anything that's $5,000 up to $12,000, it requires a purchase order, which then requires my approval. And the policy says that for those types of purchases, it's looking for 3 written informal proposals. So we do our best to try to get those written informal proposals. Sometimes, I tell you, to be honest with you, in the last 3 to 4 years, with the way the economy was, it's been difficult to get 3 proposals back. So we can get 1 or 2. It's just a lot of work, but that's what the policy encourages. Then you get into anything over $12,000, that requires the Board of Selectmen to approve a purchase order. And those are always on your agenda and acted on in a public manner. Those are supposed to also have, it's supposed to be a formal process where we go out to formal bid. However, and this board's actually already been exposed to this, there are times when it just doesn't make sense to go out for formal bid. And we'll come to the board and ask for a waiver. We've done that. For example, with the paving bid, the paving work we did this spring. It worked out really well. Used a local contractor. We were able to get that work done back in April. And the work got done on time and done within budget. If we had gone out to formal bid, we would have had to incur some engineering costs to actually develop the bid specs, because you really want people bidding on stuff apples to apples. So yeah, the board can grant a waiver on case-by-case basis. Then, as you'll see when you review this policy, there's an Appendix A. And Appendix A lists out vendors that we do business with on a day-to-day basis. And some of those vendors, we don't have an option to really go anywhere else. So, for example, if the annual software license is $6,789, then it's not subject to the competitive bidding process because there is no other vendor I can go to. But we still do require a purchase order. But you'll see a lot of the vendors that we have that are servicing our vehicles, uniforms. A lot of our uniforms are purchased through a specific vendor, very specific to the fire department or police department. Our legal services, we utilize primarily one legal firm, and so there's no competitive process there. That's just someone we have under contract. Our insurances, the health insurance, property liability. Those are just some examples of. So between part of the annual review of the policy, we'll reach out to department heads, boards, and committees, make sure they review the vendors, and we'll eliminate vendors that we no longer do business with, and we'll add vendors that are new that we're doing business with. And that's pretty much the policy. Probably won't be able to. There is in the policy a local advantage. So there's a little provision in there where we can, try to encourage and try to use our local businesses right here in town of Litchfield.
Item 10.
Yeah. And I just trying to see, there is the disposal of property, section 13, the last part is disposal of surplus property.
Yep.
There is a provision there.
It was last amended in 2018, but it's been reviewed in 19 and 20.
Excuse me, Troy, for commodities like fuel and so forth, does that go out to bid each year?
It currently, right now, we have been doing business with our regular gasoline. We're just doing a cash basis with Burke Oil, I believe it is.
Yep.
And that's what we've been doing. It has not gone out to bid.
It has not gone out to
It has
bid?
not gone out to bid since I've been here.
I'm just wondering every year, because I mean, I use propane and propane fluctuates, you know?
I can answer that
Our
one.
heating fuel and our propane, all the heating fuel,
That goes
we just piggyback the schools.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
You know, if they
the
go
school
out-
will go out to,
Yes.
they go out to bid for the heating fuel. And to be honest with you, they really can't go out to bid for propane because they don't own their tanks. And I don't think we own our tanks. But because of the volume they use, they can sit down and negotiate.
we get a better price, much better
So
price.
I wouldn't be able to get the price without the volume that the schools, they're getting that discount, and I'm benefiting, or the town is getting that benefit.
There's a history on that. When I came in as the inspector, then we were pricing out the gas for the town hall and everybody else. And the Energy North at the time was bidding for the school. And the person I know who's in charge of the bidding for them, she came here. It was Sandy Casey at the time. And she says, whatever the price we get through them, we'll give it to you. And that was almost 75 cents less than anybody that I could get. And we're still on that same because of the volume. Okay. The firehouses got natural gas, the old one. Okay. Here, they got natural gas over at the new firehouse. And the highway garage has got not natural gas, propane. Okay. And the dog pen, electric. E. But that's how we got that. And that number's been good. I just got a history. That's why I'm explaining. I'm just saying that.
Appreciate it.
How many of the other, like for instance, for copier charges, do you piggyback with the school on that also? For paper and office supplies and that sort of thing?
We shop around. So, really the biggest, as far as office supplies, the most expensive thing that we purchase is copying paper. And before, what we do is we'll shop around 3 different vendors, and we're always looking to, they always have a sale. And if we know it's a good price, we will make a purchase.
I'm just wondering because again, with respect to the volume, the school purchases a lot more paper than the town does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I just wonder if there's any other line items that we could piggyback on with the town.
Look into that.
Like for instance, just off the top of my head, for sand and salt on the sidewalks, is that a contract that we do that with?
So that's a state bid price. And
Okay.
so all of our salt is, we use the state's bid price.
But who actually does it here at the town hall? Who spreads the sand and salt?
Oh, okay. So we, the contractor that we hired to plow the
Wow.
parking lot and everything, they
He does that.
Yeah.
You can go down
We
there.
do it, if it's kind of sometimes if you get bad storm, we'll come into and hit it. But they're using our product.
SALT is a consortium. It was formed years ago. Roland Bergeron was part of it. They got away from the consortium probably 12 years ago. When I took over, I started back with them. The consortium is Derry, Londonderry, Litchfield, Hudson, Pelham. There's like 6 different ones in this district. You know how the state works, everything has a district. Well, this is in District 5. We get a pretty good price on salt.
Maybe the school should piggyback on.
They do.
Do they?
They buy their salt. Eddie Dalton is plower, and
Yeah.
he comes up and gets his salt and maintains it.
So they'll use our salt, and we keep track of it, and then we bill the school like on a quarterly basis for the actual usage.
Twice a year. Quarterly, twice a year. I have a question on disposal of surplus property. Recently, in the correspondence I read today, the Historical Society wants to do something with the lower half of the town hall. There's a lot of equipment down that I've seen there for 10, 12 years down there. It's still there.
Yeah.
Associated with the fire department using that for storage, but they don't use it. In that request from the Historical Society, they're looking to do something there. So that's something that, disposal of town property. Our fire department hasn't gone in and cleaned out their stuff yet. Associated with the shed too.
Is that the old town hall or?
Yes, the old town hall. In other words, clean up what's there.
Who maintains that building?
They do.
Point. Who?
Historical Society, or I help
Somebody
out.
let us shut the cellular lights off. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Where the police station was?
Yeah.
They've had I go to work at 3 a.m. and that place is lit up like a candle.
The downstairs is?
Good to know.
Call me, I'll shut the lights off.
I'm just telling I have no access to that.
No, because we had a surge in electric use down
Imagine
there,
what the
and
cost
someone
is.
went in and they
Yeah.
turned off a breaker, and so it sounded like there was like a.
I went down and
conditioner
shut the
running,
breaker
or what do you
off.
call it? One of those
Left the lights
dehumidifiers.
on.
No, I didn't leave the lights on.
But
What
yeah, I
happened,
bet you
Troy's
the lights
right. There was a surge, and there's 2 disconnect, okay, relay panels down there.
Yeah.
I went in there, and one of the was running, but there was nothing coming on. It's just running all the time, using juice. So I shut the breaker off because they don't use it. Okay.
But
Is
why
there
are the lights
anything-
on down there if you pull the brake?
I know you, devil. No, it's a switch on the light. Yes, I have to agree. Okay.
Well, the whole lower section?
I'll
Whole
get
the whole
just,
place?
yeah, because there's a common area in the middle.
The old police chief's office is lit up?
No one goes in there.
It's lit up. I told you that.
I tell you
whole
that-
bottom area. is-
Ever since he
Maybe
passed
it's
away, he's been.
haunted.
Someone
Maybe
went
it's
down
haunted.
there and they didn't turn the light off.
Yeah, somebody went in there.
Somebody
Maybe
needs to go throw a
David
switch.
Campbell resides down there.
I think there's a couple of them in there right now.
Is there anything,
Why don't we just put occupancy sensor on?
Yeah.
is there anything
There you
down
go.
there?
Sensor on it,
So
then you never have to worry.
We'll-
Should have been cleaned out years ago.
I'll talk to, it turned into a mess. The police storage and fire department use a lot. And I had the prisoners in there taking the wall board out of the downstairs because of all the collectible stuff on the walls. Okay, so, and we got a fan running on now to ventilate it better. So we eliminate some of the
Mold.
the fuzzy air. Okay. And that's gotten better, but we just got to clean it out now and get it down. You can still see the old wood floor joists, the old trees in there, It's very historical. Legitimately.
I think I was down there like in the 82 or something,
Yeah. I remember being, and we took the
Well,
paneling
Roberts
off the
was
wall.
down there, right? Wasn't he chief then?
Or before Dave Roberts.
Roberts was in there with it.
Not
Never mind.
82, Roberts wasn't in
I'm not saying anymore.
there. Anyway, all right.
Okay, but that's something you got a letter on today in your correspondence that I think we need to ask the fire department what they're gonna do with this stuff. If so, at least get back to us and let them go in and make the inventory. Send Doug down. He doesn't like mold.
Okay, do we have any more discussion on the purchasing policy? So the intent is for everybody to review it, and if we have changes, we'll attack them next meeting. If not, we will adopt it.
I'm just curious about the disposal of surplus property. The old farm hall that we had at the highway garage,
Yeah.
how was that disposed of?
It was done by bids.
Was it?
There were only
God,
two
I would
bids
like
at the
to-
time.
I would have loved to have bid on that.
It went out
It
and
went for some pretty good money, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember what it
We
was.
paid $2,500 to JD Hale for that.
I think we got 20, right around $2,000 for it, 1800s.
1800? And by the way, it's still close by.
Yeah, it's just down the street.
It's a nice little tractor.
It just moved from
Yeah,
Hale's farm to
Very
this farm.
tippy.
Questions?
Roland said it was.
Yeah.
No, it was. I drove.
I
Scared
rode
you
that.
to death.
I rode that many hours.
Well, oh God. I used to try to mow it. God, it was a nightmare.
He's not used to tricycles.
No.
All right, moving on. We're at the 2021 budget schedule. Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I've shared this schedule with the Board of Selectmen, all the boards and committees, the Budget Committee Chair. So this is sort of the lineup here we've got for as we start our budgeting. As you see, it will start off, I'm looking for August the 3rd for everyone to get their budget submitted to me. And then the Board of Selectmen will begin the first review on August the 10th. And you'll see that the departments have got listed there that would be covering. The next review would be August the 24th. And the third review, September the 14th. That would allow us another meeting on September the 21st to really kind of wrap things up. And if we can move along quicker, we'll try. But, you know, it's difficult for some of you who haven't been on the budget before. A lot of the numbers that we're looking for, we're not going to have when you're in the month of August and September. So most of the budgets we'll be able to put together, but some of the big numbers like the health insurance and the property liability, workers' comp, you're not going to have those things. And you're not going to have, typically we haven't had the school bid price yet on the fuels. So we'll have, I'll be reaching out to the school to see where they're at in that process. And the budget committee, I've been working with Chairman Cutter. He's done a good job lining up what the budget committee's schedules are. He's, as you can tell, he's pretty much dedicated the month of October to the town budget. And then in December, we'll be doing warrant articles for both the school and the town. And he's got on his schedule either January the 14th or January the 16th for the budget hearings for school and town. So it'll all start happening here pretty soon. Yeah.
Did we increase the meetings through the budget season?
What we've done in the past is we actually started early. Instead of starting at 6:30, we start at 6, just because some of them tend to drag on a little longer. That's what we did last
That's my
year.
question, I think, is do we have a meeting every week?
Nope, we
Like
still,
we used to, or
we stay with it every 2
continue
weeks.
to have only every 2 weeks?
It was
Even with
twice a
budget.
month is what we did. I did last year. Did we have to add one, Troy, last year?
We probably had to add, I think we may have added one at the end.
I think at the end we added one just to finish it up. But the most part, we started earlier just because we knew they would go on a little bit longer.
Yeah, so as of right now, that's a good point. You're right, we started at 6.
We started at
'cause I know,
6 during budget season.
Mr. Larry, you know, we changed to 6:30, and I think that during the budget season, we started at 6.
Yes.
Is that a problem for the?
Is that going to be a problem for you, Robert?
No. No, it's just during budget season, so that's not bad.
Okay.
Okay.
So
We'll make that work.
so I'll go ahead and
Thank
make
you.
that change, because that is,
It's like hunting
we need
season.
that extra half hour.
We do, because some of them drag on.
Really?
Yeah, it worked out well.
Okay, any other discussion on the budget schedule? Okay, hearing none, we will move on.
Just for the benefit of the public, as far as a petition warrant article, when would that be? When's the deadline for that sort of thing?
It's early February?
Yeah, I think it's in February. But you know what I'll do is this schedule gets posted on our website. I'll add that date, and then we can make an announcement at our next meeting.
It's within the first 2 weeks of February.
Because if somebody wanted to have a warrant article concerning solar,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which, I would anticipate almost, or come from us, whatever.
Right.
That's a
So-
discussion we need to have
so-
at one of our meetings, which
Yeah.
ones we want to bring forth.
Yeah.
And I think, before we get into this, on our next meeting, you might want to start thinking about warrant articles, and it wouldn't be a bad idea that we have a discussion about what we're thinking about for warrant articles at your next meeting. It's always good to get that thought out there, just in concept, so that
Can I add to your thought?
no surprises and everyone's kind of thinking along the same.
Mr. Chair, to do that, the warrant articles don't really come from us per se. They come from staff, their ideas, and ends up being a warrant.
Right.
Okay? So we should send out something to the department head saying, if you have anything you want to do that you may put on a warrant, at least get it to us.
Yeah.
And
And the boards and
preliminary,
committees and
okay?
From the CIP, we've had a couple presented to us that people would want to do. So then we have to figure out, us as a board, do we
Yeah.
want to support having those warrants? I think last year we took 2 off.
True.
I think it was 2. Yeah, we took 2. We took the fire truck and we took Dara.
Right.
No foil off. Because
Correct.
we didn't think it was the right time to bring it forth.
No one's been in the water.
So if you could reach out, Troy, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on the budget schedule?
So I'll reach out, get the word out to all the boards, committees, departments about potential warrant articles that they may be looking at. And I'll change our meeting start time from 6:30 to 6 PM.
Perfect. Thank you.
Beginning what?
The first meeting will be
August
10?
10th?
10/1. Yeah, wait a second.
10/1.
Wait, I didn't scroll up high
10?
enough. August the 10th.
There's a 1 in there.
10/1 is a budget committee. So August the 10th will be our first meeting at 6 o'clock.
The next item is the transfer station sticker. Mr. Brown.
Well, before Dave Mellon had come to me right before I had left to go on vacation, and he's throughout the high activity during the COVID pandemic, he noticed that a lot of the stickers needed to be updated, and so he was going to go ahead and just purchase the stickers and start replacing them, but I wanted to make sure we ran it past the board first. So if you see the design, you'll see that he's worked with the company. He's got a design.
Yeah, the image doesn't come
And-
up,
It doesn't show up?
No.
No. All right. So at the bottom, we have transfer station, and we also put on river access because it's one of the requirements. They have
Good
the
job.
but
town.
good looking sticker.
You got it?
That was a good idea.
It was good, yeah.
What's that?
Oh, okay.
No. The other thing you might include is, are there other parks like Morse Falls? Is that restricted at all?
Shouldn't be.
No,
I don't think so. I think
about
it's
that came from the federal government. You can't restrict.
So Dare Pond?
They're applying, you can, I think. I think it says there.
I think, does that one say Litchfield,
Town-
does it?
town.
It might.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it does.
Because you could put, I know that the river access is something which is restricted to Litchfield residents. But we could put rec facilities. Town facilities.
And that would then encourage people to get the sticker.
Yeah.
You know,
They used to give them out with your registration, and then they switched them, put them out at the
Transfer station.
landfill. And I think that was wrong. It should go as it always has with the plate.
when you register your
Register your
car.
car, you
Sticker
get the
too.
sticker.
The reason it, and I know Terry had talked to me about this too, but when I talked to Dave Mellon, what he found was happening was people, they'd get their sticker, from the town clerk's office, and they weren't putting it on their vehicle. So he wants to have a system where, you come in and they physically see you put the sticker on your.
No, that's probably a good idea.
And it's because if you don't, it's transportable.
Yeah. You
You lose it on the
Then you
way
can say, I
out.
lost it,
or
so, I'll give you another one.
You
Throw it on the dash and
Yeah.
forget about it.
And so,
All right, that makes
So I was
sense.
like, okay, he goes, Dave's like, we're going to physically see them put the sticker on the window. And all right. And they have to show their car registration. So
Okay.
they verify
That's
the
fine.
residence.
Yeah, no problem with
And
that.
I thought that was like, yeah, okay, that's a good point.
Do residents have to purchase the sticker?
No, we will purchase it.
So what sort of proof? Just driver's license or something?
Registration.
Registration.
Also your registration.
When you get to the dump, they'll ask for your registration, you show it to them, sticker goes on.
So somebody driving a company car registered in Mass.
That
They have
happens a
to,
lot.
that happens a lot. You may have to show your driver's license at a time, and because usually if you pull it out, it'll say it's a lease vehicle on it.
Yeah.
If someone says it's a company car, you just give me your driver's license.
Yeah, if it's a mass plate, 90% of the time it's a company car. And I've seen Florida, Texas.
All
I've
those,
seen all kinds of that.
I mean,
They're called rentals.
It's
that
important
happens.
to change the sticker out. Like I talked to David, it's really important to change it out once every 3 years. Just keep
I
everyone
agree.
keep everyone honest because
We got
cars
blue and
cars
white.
get sold, and
I like
and
What color they picking?
so it looks like it's kind of burnt orange is what I'm showing here.
It's a good color. That'll stand out.
Stand out, yeah.
Good idea.
So you think transfer station at the bottom, and do you want to keep river access, or do we just change river access to town facilities? Kind of generic. I mean,
I don't feel either way.
yeah,
How about river access and recreation facilities?
facilities.
Because the river access, I think, is the only one that we have with the big signage out
It's got
front.
the
It
sign
says,
down
yeah,
there, and it's
Litchfield residents
Why
only
not
on it.
just recreational facilities? Why
Could.
do you need,
Because that's the one I think
that's
we,
what that is.
but I think that's the one they enforce the most.
Yeah.
If someone's running around a field over at Darrow,
Yeah.
no one says anything, but river access is what?
You don't need a
There's
river act. I
10,
mean,
8 or 9 parking spots?
you just said that. There's a big sign out there. People know
Yeah.
that the police are checking. I've seen people from Merrimack I know over there. I mean,
I think it's a tremendous thing that
it's a river.
the people using Moore's Falls. I mean, cars are there constantly. The other day there were 5 at Moore's Falls and there were 3 at John Bryant River Access. So I think that's wonderful.
Everybody's staying home.
Rec facilities, conservation land,
All
everything's
staying
really
home.
getting used a lot now.
The state forest is
State forest.
packed.
Oh yeah.
It's because of the pandemic. That's what it's about. When this is over,
Mhm.
they'll go back to watching TV.
You watching TV, Bob?
I guess, with that being said, maybe we have to
Are
be
you
careful
awake?
because I don't know if we have restrictions.
Still
on
trying to
rec
figure out how to mute
facilities.
Mr. Lynch.
We know the river access is restricted to
Yes.
Litchfield residents.
Right.
Some of the other rec facilities we have, I'm not sure if we have ordinances in place.
I think there's one for Derry.
Yeah.
Only,
There is,
Residents only, I
but
believe.
particularly when people used to swim there. That's when it was an issue.
Yeah.
Now, when they have a tournament or something, there's people from everywhere.
everywhere.
And
Pickleball is an active group, and they're from outside town too.
Yeah.
yes,
Parking there.
Yeah, the majority are Litchfield, but then there's a lot of Manchester that comes.
so the RSA probably says Litchfield residents and guests, but
Most of them do say that.
yeah,
It might be best to leave it. I
think
ran
the way
this
it is.
past Chief Sergeant. He was fine with transfer station river access.
Fine. I would leave it just the way
I'm
it
good
is.
with it.
Just leave it the way it is.
Leave it the way it is.
So why mess with something that's,
Yeah. And the
Makes
police
sense.
go down and check who's there at the river access. And, I've seen
I
that.
mean, if they see if they go to Dara and they see the sticker, they're not gonna bother them anyway, right? I mean,
No.
Yeah.
They're not, unless they're causing problems. I
right,
don't-
exactly. I mean, then they have a right to put them out.
Yeah.
Just that simple.
I did see on social media that somebody asked the question about driving into Dara because the gate apparently,
Yeah, it's being left
Should be
unlocked.
locked.
It should be locked, but it's
Should be
been
locked.
left unlocked recently.
yes.
Shouldn't
So-
be.
No, are you the rec committee? So I think somebody's on it.
Yeah, we're addressing it now. I think we're going to try a new change system, change the lock, change the password, because it's somebody has the code and they're just leaving it open.
Huh.
It's lot and there's cars down
There's
there.
a lot of the coaches that have those codes.
Yeah.
So I
It hasn't
mean,
changed
it's
in
only
years.
logical that they want to drive in and don't want to walk. So they're opening that gate.
I think the majority of the people that are driving in are going down and putting a canoe into the pond.
And
The
that's
other issue they had were driving down and people were getting too close and parking on the basketball court. So therefore we went out and we put up that low guardrail there to keep people off from driving on it, but now people are going down and parking. The big problem is you have children that are running around going to the play structure down there. So they're just trying to keep cars off from the first gate back.
Are they planning to do anything with their parking lot on there?
That's one of their items they bring into the CIP is to get the paved.
That should
They
be
have two items. They
fair.
have that and they want lights, but the paving's priority
At
one.
least paved.
Because you go down there in the winter and fall and it's just a swamp.
I begged Ricky on my hands and knees to do that road into there.
Yeah, it needs it. It really does. So that's going to be brought up to the CIP.
Yeah, the drainage in the parking lot is terrible.
Yeah, that's part of it
Oh,
too.
it's perfect. It's flat.
Yeah, there's, you could drain that down to the pond,
No,
but well, they don't salt that.
no. What you can do there, we talked about this before, it's under drains. It'll save you half the problems there. To get it to the pond, you got to get into that detention area that goes along the upper edge of the pond next to the thing. Then they go into that pipe that dumps in.
There's a pipe out there now.
Yeah, and it takes the top edge of the drainage coming up the hill to the pond, around and bring it around. Parking lot with salt, they may not agree with that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the next item we have is the review of the reopening plan. Mr. Brown.
How are we?
Who started today?
Yeah. I think we're good.
Well, that was one of the things I wanted to discuss with the board.
We just wanted to see if it works.
Right before we left, we got chairs out of here, and I think I've created enough space to
More
get
than
six feet of distance for everyone. We've got the
Sneeze guards.
panels, so I think we're in a position where we can, if people have, they don't have overcapacity in the room, they should be able to have in-person meetings. Some boards and committees might, they may struggle with that, but I think a lot of them will be able to do it. Obviously, we're still going to need to continue to do the virtual meeting at the same time as the in-person meetings.
For the public,
For the public portion.
Yeah.
Slowly transition to back to normal, but for
Yeah.
now, just have. the
And there are
boards
towns that are doing it. They are doing it. So
this works great. It's so much better.
it's so much
Oh, it
easier.
is. It truly is. I mean, I think the toughest is going to be planning board, depending on how many people they have coming in the evening. And then the other one that's large is budget committee. And I'm not sure if budget committee can completely
Yeah.
fit in here.
Where would you?
Budget committees
Where else would
really-
you hold meetings?
You can't.
Fire?
That's the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, even then we get into there, it's your emergency ops. Do you really want to have to make sure you're cleaning it after every meeting if we ever had a whole emergency ops?
Yeah.
So that makes it tough. So I think, what is it? 7 people for budget? Or is it 9? It's
Only 9 when you get
Nine.
the school and town rep.
Yep.
And
So that's probably the biggest one, trying to get in here.
So if we add more tables,
You could stack all the way around, yeah. And just leave one out
Probably
by
get
the
it back
door.
there.
we could bring where Rich is, add 2 more,
Over
take the
there,
white
add
one, put it in the middle, move that over here.
Yeah.
Russ will keep him lock
Because I think it'd be more effective for everybody if we
It
were
might
able to
be.
do it.
Just
Yeah, I
get,
think too,
go
guys.
down to Dara Pond and get more of these, you know,
Yeah.
they got the white
Bunch of
tables
them. There's
down
long
there.
ones too. There's longer ones and
And
short
build.
ones.
The other thing,
Rectangle.
these sneeze
And then
guards,
you can
okay?
get a couple more of these.
Yep. Because you can, if these, even though Steve and I are at 6 feet apart, I'm on the far end, he's in the middle, Jack's on the edge. You're too close.
Yeah,
But
I know.
I just,
But you got the sneeze guy.
I get the sneeze guy, okay?
Yeah,
But overall, I think we're
I'm happy.
pretty close, 6 feet.
Yeah. we say-
So it'd be nice if we could get it so the budget committee could get in here too.
Yeah. Bob, we'll welcome
See
you
if-
back.
But see, yeah, if Bob was here, that's where
Yeah.
we would need another table.
Yeah.
Okay. A table for.
Put another table there, and then Bob would be on the other side, or
Yep.
Yeah.
somebody be over there.
Whoever
If
be
he was
over
here tonight, we probably would have put him at the
Yeah.
center table.
Would work. You have 3 here, 2 there, and you over, or whoever. over
Wherever.
there.
And so,
Yeah, don't forget him.
in the control, yeah.
We can shut this.
So,
tucked away.
I'll work on, with our emergency management team and really work out the fine details, but get the work. I know the boards and committees, they really are looking for direction on this and.
They really want to know.
Yeah, everybody wants to get back.
They really want to come back here.
Everybody
so-
does it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
People are
so we'll
calling
get,
me all the time.
get that going.
One of the things that I'm hearing in the outside world is opening up the lobby,
Yes.
Yeah, that's another thing.
okay? We're ready. I heard I attended the emergency meeting last Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay.
Yeah, I had a heart attack on one proposal. As Terry said, I'd come off the floor. That was for to do some work out in the lobby with the existing glass.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you probably got it on your desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite high.
yeah,
Yeah, okay. So we need to do some work with that. But I think the outside world right now, they're very lit. You go in, you're masked up, you're 6 feet away, the supermarkets and everything else. You have very little, if you can control that, okay? How about you can't have so many people in, and to a certain point, you're gonna say out.
Yeah.
And that's when maybe one of the girls like Donna can see it and do something to keep so many people out or in.
we did buy the stickers. So we have the stickers that can be put on the floor.
Yeah. If you're over the limit, you must stay out till one comes out.
Right.
There's more room in the glass to paint something right now.
it can be like the old bars, 1 for 1, you know?
Yeah,
There you go.
You reach the
Capacity.
maximum,
Yep.
and then, you don't come in until somebody goes out, you
Yeah.
know? And,
Drive a good way.
you can direct people around and so
Yep.
forth. I mean, with the glass, the staff to me is protected, it's just a matter of the public being protected. And I think we could manage that
With a mask and your 6 foot distance, you're in good shape.
and have it channeled,
Yeah.
you know?
Looking at something like this in front of the town clerk, it's a little divider between the 2 seats. Simplify it.
So there was, and I don't know, Terry's still there. So,
She hears us, trust
you
me.
can hear us, right, Terry? You there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the glass. So tell me about this because I have not ordered the glass yet, but we've had, we've been working with a vendor to change out the glass and the transaction windows for the dispatch, the town clerk, and the building department admin. And so we've got a quote of, I think it was right around $15,000 to do that. It would give us a proper transaction window box where right now the biggest problem is the town clerk's office, there's a space on both sides of the transaction windows because there's no way to get a license plate through the
So they just put them through.
put them through. And the glass would be, it's not going to be bulletproof, but it's going to be more of a bullet resistant glass.
What's wrong
But
with
the
that?
big thing was getting the transaction windows, and they'd be all the same in all 3 transaction windows.
Have
Carpentry,
slide drawers for the transaction big enough to hold the plate.
That's our understanding, Terry.
They do?
Terry's been working with the vendor and
Yes. We're supposed to be able to slide the plate through that opening.
Yeah, but when you put in the drawer, is that drawer gonna be large enough to put a plate in?
What drawer?
Yes.
Yeah. There is a drawer going in the middle,
we'll
right?
double check, but that's
I
my
thought it
understanding is
was
a
passed
drawer.
through back
Yeah,
and forth.
yeah, Pat.
Yeah, so we'll slide the drawer out and then they're putting a speaker in the middle of that so that the customer will be able to hear us and we'll be able to hear them.
Okay.
It's like a drive-through at the bank.
Pretty much.
What's the purpose of the
Correct.
bulletproof?
Just
Please
like
tell me
that.
one.
It's not bulletproof. It's just, it's
Bullet
bullet
resistant.
resistant.
That's what we have out there now.
Well, the glass is gonna have to be changed out,
Isn't
so.
dispatch and the police department, isn't that bulletproof?
No,
If I
bullet
remember
resistant.
right?
I think it's the same glass.
It is resistant.
All
the same
three of them,
glass.
they're gonna make them the same.
But
No, I'm saying
you
what's in
can't,
there
you know,
now.
Yeah, I think it's just resistant.
the glass has to be replaced to do the transaction window, so that's why we're saying it's gonna be
Well-
bullet resistant. I don't know if they're bullet resistant now or not.
And we believe the funding will cover this.
That's right.
So we're going to use federal funding, again, our tax dollars, in another way. Okay. It seems like the issue here is the plate. Am I correct? The plate, getting the plate through the window. You're talking one drawer to go underneath and that's it.
Well, you're gonna get a transaction window, which is more secure than what you have right now. Right now, you just have that little open air slot. So these boxes will go out and you put your stuff in them, they'll go back in. You're gonna have, like Terry said, you'll be able to have the microphone so that you can have a conversation with the customer, a two-way conversation, a little
A little
clearer.
more sealed.
It will be a good improvement in what you have now.
But when how long is it going to take us to get this? And is the issue going to be gone by then, you know?
Well, I'm kind of thinking that if you had talked to me 3-4 months ago, I'd be like, just the same thought process. But I'm not so sure when it's all going away, and I'm not sure what the future holds. And so that's why a lot of the retrofitting, I think that the government's paying for, and I know it's our taxes, is something that's going to be a long-term fix in case this continues to go on. You see something different 3 years from now, and
If you watch the news, I mean, the states that were not too bad now are devastated.
yeah,
California just pulled back to phase one.
Sure. Yeah, no, a couple of them did, as
Texas.
of tonight's news, that they went back to stage one.
Well, I'm just,
so so the good thing, see, I look at it as we had to shut the town office down, and if something came back, we go back into a lockdown mode or something. But we've got the infrastructure in place. We've got those automatic doors now in place. We got the better transaction windows. I'm thinking that we're still going to be able to operate because we'll have this stuff in place.
Well, we're upgrading the town hall.
Yeah.
Those were fine 20 years ago when we built this building. I mean, they were adequate.
We're still,
Now it's time to get
Make
into
this
that.
adequate. Yeah, for the changing times.
I mean, we've learned a lot through this, and so
We put bulletproof in the top, didn't realize we had sheet metal on the bottom.
yeah, but that's only getting shot in the knee.
That
We're
was
okay
true
with that.
though. I mean,
I remember that.
it really did happen. I mean,
I know what you're talking about.
it was
I remember that.
kind of a funny thing, man.
Sheet metal is
We
good for the
argued
knees.
about a bulletproof glass, and then we never even thought about that.
Well, there's sheet metal down there, but it's very thin.
Won't stop at 9mm, probably.
I'm just thinking, I'd like to see the quote. I'll stop by and see it.
okay.
The reason why I'm thinking about, I know what they're trying to do. I understand that. The tray, I'm looking at what we can use existing glass and do some modification. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Because it can seal up the sides with more trim.
Mhm.
It'd be all done. Okay. and the glass would be good, and they could do something with the tray box or something like that. That'd bring the cost down. I'm just trying to be realistic here.
What if
Okay,
you get a sheet of of plexi like this and went over that existing glass that's out there and then put a decent, good drawer with a microphone and all that stuff?
yeah,
We're
gonna look at that,
Okay.
I mean, it's something to look into. It could probably bring the price down
quite a
considerably.
bit.
We're using
It is.
plexiglass here. so
Yeah, is there a
it's
lesser
gotta be-
glass too? I mean,
Pardon?
did we go up in glass that caused it to jump? If we go down one piece of glass, does the price drop significantly?
Well, if you go to plexiglass, they're just
Well, I have
gonna,
existing,
they're gonna
see,
take this stuff and just put it over.
I could see, you know, bullet resistant for the dispatch.
Well, that's kind of,
Well, it's
different.
the problem is, to be honest with you, you know, if you're going to have a person that's going to have an intention to cause harm, they're going to go into that lobby area, and they're going to do destruction wherever they can. It's not going to be dispatched because they're related to the police. I mean, someone could be upset that their welfare application was denied, or they can't afford to pay their property. I mean, you don't know what.
you can't protect, maybe I'm from the old school. You can only do so much, and it gets to a point where you can't do much more. It's gonna happen, even outside.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they'd be waiting for you.
Yeah.
All I'm thinking right now, I got no problem. I think you got a good set, you've got a great system. There's bulletproof glass. When somebody wants to go to the police department, talk to somebody, they gotta go into that little dead spot. And that's got
That's why
the,
we did that.
okay, yeah. The other thing out here, look at that. But on the town clerk side, I think the glass there, if you just close up the edges, because it's open only on the sides, you can trim that off, okay? But it's just a lot, yeah, just put some trim in there.
But then it'll get, you know, like you said, then you'd need to see if you can put some type of box,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you wouldn't be able to get the
I think
license
that's
plate.
look
So-
at the box,
Well, I think that's probably a necessity.
Yeah.
So I've you know, Captain Scotty has been
Mhm, I know.
working directly with the proposal. Terry's been working directly, and so
And Terry saw me hit the
Both of them.
floor when I heard the price.
and so I you know I like again I just got back today and I've not had a chance to talk to Terry, so we'll probably have this discussion
Again,
again on Wednesday. You know, with the emergency management team, find out where we're at. I know selectmen are being asked, you know, when are we going to start
oh yeah,
opening up?
all the time.
I think that, you know, we don't have to wait for another selectmen's meeting if we, you know, if staff and everyone's think we have a plan in place that we can do it before our next meeting, if you're comfortable with that, leaving it, you know.
Well, I can say right now, the registry of deeds, just to give an example, or some banks that I've been into. All they've done is put up some glass, okay? Because they're only dealing with the COVID theory, okay? And you still pass through. There's plenty of opening, you can talk over and come down. You're wearing a mask when you're talking to the person in the first place. Two, okay? They have, in some cases, I see them cut in the glass, the screen to talk to, you talk better.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen.
Like you had in prison.
Yeah, a good choice of location. Okay. Yeah, same here. You want to put the girls behind bars. No, I'm just saying, look at it like that. Okay. I think we got a good setup to protect us from somebody who's going to go off the wall. I don't see that ever for us to be able to, we got to ring a bell to get them to come out of the building, to come get us, you know? Okay. Do we have a direct? Yeah, we do.
What?
Direct buzzer that goes over to the police department. Yeah, they do.
Oh, inside this.
We have
one.
it
Inside here, yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, we got them here, the
Oh,
wireless
yeah,
now, right?
Panic button.
Yeah, the old one was the hardwired ones. We had,
Yeah, we had one on the wall somewhere.
okay, next.
All right, so let's review with emergency management on Wednesday.
What time's your meeting, 10?
2.
2?
Public meeting to
But-
reopen.
But what I, following up what Troy said, what I think would be in order for the selectmen to have a motion to open as soon as practical, working with the
Emergency management.
emergency management, and I would make that motion.
Okay, good.
We have a motion by Mr. LaSalle's.
Second.
We have
2 seconds.
Let
a
Jack
second,
go
Mr.
first before-
Pinciero. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Leary,
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle's,
Aye.
Mr. Lynch,
All right,
Mr. Pinciero.
Yeah.
I am also an aye. Motion carries 500.
do we still have to raise our hands for the guy doing the minutes?
We should.
Okay.
But we did roll call, so it made it easier. So it's when we don't.
I
do
just
roll call.
asking.
Okay, the next we have administrator report.
All right.
Mr. Brown.
It'll be quick, but Selectman Lynch started talking to the board about this a little earlier.
Storage.
We received correspondence written, it was written to me, which really, is the Board of Selectmen. And the Historical Society, they're going to receive a large amount of material. And they don't have a space to store it. And they're also in the process, I guess, of trying to, somewhere in the historical building, the old town hall, they want to set up an old tavern room, which I guess would be like a tribute to the old Griffin Tavern. I'm not familiar with that. Maybe some of
Next
you guys
door,
are.
town hall,
Yeah,
White building.
yeah. So they've
it's too
basically they've asked two things. One, the fire department has a lot of, I say a lot. The fire department has stuff in the basement. It might be old Christmas decorations, some old equipment. I don't know. It might be surplus.
collection
Maybe
of
someone has
stuff, yeah.
value.
Cheers.
But they're asking if we would, contact the fire, have them remove the stuff, see if it's possible to remove the stuff. And also they're interested, if it's possible, to use the shed, which is behind the old town hall and right, is the fire department's shed, I think. And that may have stuff in it. So I'll reach out to the fire chief, see what the status is of that, and communicate with the Historical Society.
Okay.
My other thought, though, is if the fire department, if whatever the feedback is, I'm not sure if they're interested in having some possible storage at the old fire station in one of those upstairs office buildings,
What's currently in the old fire
The
station?
old fire station. So right now, down on the first floor where the fire engines were parked, we basically just have, I believe we park the election trailer in there. In the wintertime, we were parking some of the mowing equipment from the highway garage because it was stored in the building with the other trucks and sometimes the salt and stuff. So that was a good storage place for it. I think there's a boat there, fire department boat in there. I think I've seen. That's about it.
So mostly
Nothing big.
wheeled storage.
Yeah. And then upstairs really is, there's not a lot. I mean, you got 3 office spaces and it's just been vacated. There's not a lot left up there.
It'd be dangerous taking anything up those
That's the
stairs.
problem. The problem is those stairs.
Yeah, that's the inside
Oh,
stairs,
you're
but
dealing
the
with-
outside stairs are available for them.
Yeah, it's still,
It's
it's not
pretty
great.
rickety.
Yeah.
I
But it
think
is a
was-
good, for the right group, it's not a bad, nice, good, dry storage.
Upstairs is
There's
good
no
dry.
mold issues or anything like that. But like you say, those stairs are dangerous. Even myself, I don't, you gotta be
I
careful.
wouldn't go up them.
You guys are getting old.
Well, there's,
Oh, just cautious.
but anyhow, I wanted to let you know, the Historical Society has reached out to the Board of Selectmen, looking for some, to free up some space so that they can do some stuff that they want to do.
There's a lot of stuff that has to go.
We're doing a virtual meeting with them tomorrow night. So
Okay.
Are they gonna be running through the building with a camera?
I don't know.
No, I don't think Steve wants to do that.
And then I want to let you know, we've been doing Dave had an employee who, because of the way we've been doing our recycling and handling the cardboard and some other recyclables in a different way, he had an individual that had time to do some improvements for some of the buildings down there, his sheds that he has. And he also came to me and said, look, I got time for this guy to put some sweat equity into the dog kennel. So they've been doing some improvements down there to that building. And
Yep, looks good.
The reports he's given me is like, I haven't been down to see it, but usually when Dave Mellon
Same color as the
some work
transfer
stuff, he does-
station.
yeah. So he's,
Blends in nice.
so
Does the kennel even get utilized?
Very little.
I didn't think so.
You should
I don't
use
think
good
they
the,
had a
building.
dog
It's a
in
good
it.
solid building. So you want to take
I
good
can't
care of it.
remember once the guy saw it.
you should use the official name, Pat's Puppy Palace.
I was saying that's that was Pat's pet job.
Like going back in time now.
I hope she isn't listening.
Don't worry, she'll remember you.
She'll roll over.
And that's all I have to report.
All right, thank you. Next, we have Selectmen reports. Mr. Leary.
No budget committee meeting until August, so we're on a break right now before we get into the heavy stuff.
Okay, thank you. Mr. LaSalle.
Historical Society tomorrow night.
Okay, Mr. Lynch.
Where there was a planning board meeting that I did not go to because of the situation as an old inspector. The parties are trying to get along right now. I don't agree with some of the stuff that's being said and done. So the chair and I talked, and I stepped out of that one on there because really it's a conflict.
Troublemaker.
Mr. Pinciero.
There was a meeting of the conservation on the 3rd. I was out of town, so I didn't make the meeting. I wasn't even aware they were having that meeting. I would appreciate it if they would let me know.
Okay.
So there has not been a CIP or a rec meeting since our last meeting. And rec for the next 2 months is just the 4th Tuesday. So they instead of twice a month, they went down to once a month.
Seeing we had no items removed from consent, we have no other business. Our next meeting is July 27th. We do have a couple other items this evening. There are non-public sessions we have two under RSA 91A32A, employee compensation. We have one under RSA 91A:32B, employee hiring. And we have two under reputation, which is RSA 91-A:32C. Do we have a motion to go into non-public?
Make a motion to go to non-public.
We have a motion by Mr. Pinciero. Roll call. Mr. Leary.
Aye.
Mr. LaSalle.
Aye.
Mr. Lynch.
Aye.
Mr. Pinciero.
Aye.
I am also an aye. We are now going into non-public. Thank you for watching and hope you have a great week.